The RE4 Remake just got some huge news. In the most recent gameplay reveals, we have received a lot of footage from the village and castle, and within all of the gameplay, a lot of new details were revealed. So in this video, I will be going over everything you need to know. So with that being said, let's get right into it. The first major difference revealed is the huge amount of exploration added in the game. Throughout all of the clips, we saw many shots of the lake, and we also saw Leon driving around in his boat, traveling through these huge fully explorable caverns. Also, when Leon is outside, there were a few instances where we could see some torches on the other side of the lake, meaning that there will be multiple different cavern areas to explore. Once we get further into the gameplay, we even find out that there will be enemies to fend off deep in these caverns. So it seems like this whole exploration around the lake will be a huge addition to the remake that wasn't in the original, because as we know, the original RE4 only had the one small cavern that takes you to a small merchant shop. So yeah, this is definitely a neat addition, and it really gets me excited to see all the other new things the RE4 Remake has in store for us. Something to note is when Leon is traveling through the caverns, we can see the harpoon HUD display on the bottom, which shows that you will have an infinite supply of harpoons. I know there was a leak stating that the spears would be limited, so I thought that you would maybe be able to use guns as well in the Del Lago fight, but since we have an infinite amount of spears, I kinda doubt that this will be the case. Now the next key detail within the gameplay comes from the newly added parry attack. In the new footage, we saw Leon parry a Molotov, as well as an attack from a Plaga enemy. There was also some sort of button prompt icon when the Ganado threw the dynamite, so maybe you'll be able to parry dynamite as well, because it seems like you can pretty much parry anything in this game, which is definitely not a bad thing. It's gonna be a great tool to defend yourself in the remake overall. Now from there, we have some gameplay of the first Krauser fight. During this fight, we can really see the power of the knife in the RE4 Remake with all of its new additions. But probably the most important takeaway from this fight is the dialogue exchanges between Krauser and Leon. As the two of them were arguing back and forth, Leon brought up Operation Javier, which was the mission the two of them went on together prior to this game. Because of this being brought up, many fans have been speculating that we might get a DLC in regards to Operation Javier, but only time will tell if this will indeed be the case. Next, we have a ton of new castle gameplay that reveals quite a few interesting details, with the first major detail being the expansion in the beginning. Instead of going right into the catapult sequence, there are now some new areas in the castle to go through before the player can reach the catapult section. In one of these rooms, we saw a parasite gain full control over a cultist, and we learned that these enemies are now able to climb on ceilings and lunge at the player, which is absolutely insane. After that, the gameplay goes through the catapult section, which pretty much plays out exactly like the original, but a neat little change is that you can now move the cannonball to take out enemies and catapults set up by the cultists. Something else we saw in this sequence was Ashley getting knocked down. For those of you who don't know, Ashley doesn't actually die in this game, but will instead get knocked down. When she gets knocked down, you will have to go to her and revive her as shown in the gameplay. Next, we move on to the Garrador fight, where there once again seems to be some expansion to this area, as we can see both Leon and Ashley traveling through some dark tunnels in the jail cell before coming face to face with the Garrador enemy. In this Garrador fight, we can see that there will no longer be any bells to distract the enemy. Instead, we will get some wooden boards to hide behind for cover. In this fight, we can see the evade mechanic in action, and we can also see that the player is now able to perform stealth attacks on the Garrador with the knife, which will definitely help in taking this enemy down. Now that was pretty much all of the major new details from the gameplay, but something else that's pretty big just got revealed, and that's the size of the RE4 Remake. The amount of space the remake requires to download is a whopping 67 gigabytes. The most recent Resident Evil games, including RE7, RE8, and the RE2 and 3 Remake, all required less than 30 gigabytes. So that just goes to show you how big the RE4 Remake will be, and this is also a very good sign that little to nothing will be cut from the original. With the size being that big, it's also a good sign that Ada's Separate Ways campaign will be included and will be available on launch, but we will just have to wait and see about that. But anyways guys, that was all of the latest information on the RE4 Remake. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.